Before we begin, make sure you like this video and subscribe to History Reborn Alive. It helps bring serious history content to people who want more than recycled trivia. Now let's get straight into one of the most fascinating subjects in historical study: raw, improbable, almost statistically insulting human luck. When you study history long enough, you eventually hit stories that defy probability so hard they almost feel like glitches in the human timeline. Historians usually avoid calling anything luck because it sounds unscientific, but sometimes the facts are so absurd that no other explanation seems plausible. There are individuals who walked away from disasters, survived political chaos, dodged death multiple times, or simply made a decision at the right millisecond. And history recorded the outcome because the odds of survival were so microscopic. These stories aren't just entertaining. They teach us about resilience, situational awareness, and decision-making under pressure. And if you study them carefully, they highlight how preparation and quick thinking often amplify what we casually call luck. For survivalists and historians alike, these cases offer lessons about risk, timing, and how, seemingly small choices can shift the direction of an entire life. With that said, let's get into the list. Vesna Vulović survived the highest fall without a parachute because she kept her composure even after waking up after the crash. In 1972, flight attendant Vesna Vulović plummeted over 33,000 feet after an aircraft explosion and somehow lived. The key detail, often overlooked, is that her survival wasn't just physical luck. Her training, instinctive bracing, and the section of the aircraft she was in all factored in. Survivalists can draw one practical point: the human body endures more when tension is minimized. If you've ever trained for falls, whether in martial arts or rescue work, you know the difference relaxation makes. Her case underscores how preparation can determine whether luck has room to work. Tsutomu Yamaguchi survived both Hiroshima and Nagasaki because he moved towards structure and safety instead of panic. Yamaguchi was in Hiroshima on business when the bomb dropped, survived, and returned home to Nagasaki only to experience the second blast 3 days later. What matters historically is how he reacted. He sought reinforced structures, avoided open streets when things looked unstable, and followed rational self-preservation instincts. In disaster scenarios, the people who survive 2 consecutive city-destroying nuclear blasts aren't merely lucky. They make informed decisions quickly. That's something modern emergency planning teaches as well. Frane Selak became known as the world's luckiest unlucky man because he stayed adaptable through 7 life-threatening incidents. Selak survived a train derailment into icy water, a plane explosion, multiple vehicle accidents, and a bus crash. What sets him apart is how consistently he reacted in ways that increased his odds, from breaking windows to escape to detaching himself from hazardous spots. For anyone studying risk, the man shows that reacting rather than freezing is often the deciding factor. Juliane Koepcke walked out of the Amazon rainforest after a mid-air breakup because she relied on lessons taught by her parents, both biologists. When she fell from an exploding aircraft at 17 and landed in the Peruvian rainforest, Koepcke spent 11 days navigating dense jungle alone. Her survival wasn't blind fortune. She applied practical knowledge, such as following water downstream, avoiding deceptively calm pools, and recognizing signs of human presence. This is one of the clearest historical examples where environment-specific education transforms luck into survival. So, Hugh Glass crawled for hundreds of miles after a brutal grizzly attack simply because he understood the terrain and indigenous survival techniques. Glass was mauled, abandoned, and left without weapons. Yet he managed to drag himself across the plains, feeding on raw animals and, well, using rivers as his transport guidance. Many folks call this luck. Others, though, call it pure survival discipline. The crossover here is honestly quite obvious. When you understand a landscape intimately, luck just becomes amplified. That's exactly why survival training puts such emphasis on mapping skills, edible plant recognition, and of course, water prediction patterns. Anatoly Bugorsky, now he survived a proton beam to the head because he received treatment immediately and, crucially, refused to panic. In a particle accelerator accident, Bugorsky actually took a proton beam right through his skull. He lived, though half his face became paralyzed. His quick reporting, immediate medical response, and remarkable composure likely contributed to his survival. So, the practical takeaway here is really quite simple. Treat injuries fast, report problems immediately, and, well, don't make the mistake of minimizing trauma. Because, honestly, early intervention often defines the boundary between fatal and survivable. Roy Sullivan survived 7 lightning strikes because he actually respected warning signs afterward, even if others didn't. I mean, a park ranger struck 7 times is statistically ridiculous. Yet Sullivan survived because he changed his behavior afterward, watching storm patterns and steering clear of metal ridges and exposed points whenever possible. The lesson is, well, pretty straightforward. After a near miss, adjust your risk profile. Many people simply don't, and frankly, that's why luck rarely repeats. Ludger Silbaris lived through the 1902 Mount Pelée eruption because he happened to be in solitary confinement inside a thick cell. A drunk and a fighter, Silbaris survived an eruption that killed about 30,000 people because his cell was sealed, dark, and protected. The historical point isn't the accident of confinement. It's how disaster-safe structures can save even someone who wasn't looking for protection. This is a reminder for modern builders, especially in disaster-prone regions, to reinforce small enclosed spaces. Alexander Selkirk survived years alone on an island because his skills matched his environment almost perfectly. The inspiration for Robinson Crusoe wasn't lucky, simply because he survived isolation. He survived because he built shelter strategically, tamed feral goats, and rationed energy. His story demonstrates that luck favors those with versatile skill sets. Anyone preparing for long-term off-grid survival should, study Selkirk closely. Nottingham's Robert Evans survived, well, multiple Titanic-level maritime disasters by relying on seamanship rather than fear. Evans was involved in several shipwrecks and, quite remarkably, repeatedly survived. Maritime records show he was calm, followed chain-of-command logic, and, identified flotation options quickly. Skill multiplies luck in chaotic environments. Sometimes it's not just about being lucky, it's about knowing what to do when chaos strikes. Pliny the Younger survived the eruption of Vesuvius because he prioritized distance and clarity rather than curiosity. While his uncle Pliny the Elder died investigating the volcano, the younger Pliny survived because he retreated, maintained discipline, and recorded events with precision. Sometimes survival means resisting the urge to walk toward danger. Now, if you found value in this guide to 11 stupidly lucky people in history, make sure you subscribe to History Reborn Alive and share this video so more serious history enthusiasts can learn something new.